Hello, my dearest friends, and it is time once more for a tale of the Neckbeard kind, a place r/slash Tales of Neckbeards. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It's really late. Anyway, this is from Reddit user Simon Says. I like your name. This is Guy tries to manipulate me into being a friend with benefits. That's weird. I'm interested to see where this is going to go, so here we go. The story is one that still really messes with my head, but I feel it may help if I get it off my chest. I've been seeing Tim Tam Tom's videos discussing these things. What's up, dude? And it somehow makes me more comfortable talking about it, and it's what made me decide I'll do it. Sometimes it's good to get that stuff out. Warnings, mentions of self-harm, eating disorders, and certain kind of harassment. You know what kind. Isn't it cool how I can't even tell you what you need to be afraid of? Thanks, YouTube. My school is really small and we didn't have a lot of kids. In the grade above me, there was this boy. I'll call him Zack. He was always in my school since I could remember and never really stood out to me. It wasn't until middle school that I had the misfortune of meeting him. He was an e-boy who just wore hoodies and sexualized the hell out of Vocaloids who were mostly 14 to 16 years old. Ew. He also really liked anime and Asian culture, which I never really thought about much. I also liked some anime, few Vocaloid songs, but as the years went on, I began to see his real colors. Zack was a very manipulative person who always tries to paint every situation as him being the nice guy who got hurt. He also never respected my opinions. Once at a football game, he tried to get me and my friends to hit off of a vape pen. The thing about me, I do pride myself on my innocence, quote-unquote. Never had a need to do things like vape, smoke, hook up, steal stuff like that. Things that are seen as scandalous. I mean, I can understand that. It's your body, it's your decision to do what you want to do with it, so. I like to keep myself that way because I feel like, personally, it makes my life a little easier. I don't really care if people smoke or hook up around me, just as long as me and my friends don't get into any kind of trouble. You know, I could care less. Fair point. It's kind of how I feel about people when it does come to smoking. I personally don't really do it. I mean, I have smoked in the past, but I don't really do it anymore because I don't like the way it makes me feel. But I mean, if it makes you feel good, go for it, bro. It's totally cool. However, he always poked fun at me for being this way. It never made me comfortable how he's always sexualizing things, like Asians, trans girls, cat girls, and pure quote-unquote people. Oh, he's one of those, okay. It always made me uncomfortable when he'd bring up that kind of stuff, and I always tried to hint that I didn't like hearing about it, especially from someone I barely knew. Also, I was, 13. Hey, there's that fucking red flag. Oh, that's a big one, isn't it? A few years went by and our interactions faded, and he ended up in my sophomore English class. He had failed and had to retake it. He sat next to me, and I tried not to hold past shit against him. I chalked it all up to puberty and kids being dumb, and thought that he must have matured. I was wrong. When we would talk, it was usually fine. We would talk about anime, I'd tell him what happened in the manga, and he'd tell me what's different about the anime. We'd discuss games sometimes. I liked having a friend that I could talk about anime with, but again, he soon got more comfortable and showed his true colors. During my sophomore year, I'd gotten out of a long-distance relationship. In this relationship, I was heavily sexualized. If I wasn't being yelled at, I was being urged to say inappropriate things or talked about in a very uncomfortable way. Jeez. It really messed with my head because I'm a male and I was dating a girl. I had always faced the stereotype in my rural town of boys like sex and are horny 24/7. I thought I had to be that way, but soon I did begin to protest to my girlfriend, but I'd be gaslighted or threatened into complying. I hate to say this, but I kind of know how that feels. That's fucked up. After we broke up, I blamed myself for all of it and felt it was my fault for not liking it. It was a really tender wound, and one day it was really getting to me. I told Zack a summarized version of events, thinking he'd be respectful. I added how now sexualized things just kind of make me even more uncomfortable than before, and made me just waken those repressed feelings during my time with my girlfriend. Me having this trauma of being sexualized and forced to basically sext my girlfriend every day for a year and hear her describe me in ways that I really didn't appreciate didn't change anything in Zack's interactions with me. He would mention sexual things once or twice, but we were older teens and it's expected. But what got me is that he just kept doing it. He told me stories of girls he'd met online and asked for pictures, and they'd get mad and stop talking to him. He'd always say how he's a martyr who is really just a shy lad who can't talk to girls. Oh my god, I know exactly who this guy is. I knew better, and my guard was always up since my ex. I knew he was just a fucking creep, and was probably going to try the same thing with me or one of my female friends. And I was fucking right. He talked to me once about how one of my friends is pretty, and talked about her in a very sexual way, saying he wants her as friends with benefits. I told him, stop talking about her like that, and that I don't want to hear it. He responded with something I'll never forget. Come on, I'm a guy, what do you want me to do? Stop being a fucking creep. As days passed, he kept bringing up sexual things and saying things like, we're guys, being dudes, even though it kept making me really uncomfortable and made me feel like I was reliving my ex. But he began to do more than that. It started out with holding my hand. The first time it happened, it was a joke. At least that's how I saw it, and it lasted only a few seconds before I pulled away and continued with work with a laugh. But after that, he just kept doing it, and even though I'd try to pull away, he'd put his other hand on top of mine and press my hand to the desk. He'd give me these sad puppy dog looks, and it did work in a way. I don't want to be seen as a dick who didn't accept emo boy's advances. I always tried to avoid him grabbing my hand. I'd kept my hand in my pocket or under my arm, but when he didn't get to hold my hand, he'd change the target to my thigh. He'd grab my thigh and make comments about them, and even though I'd tell him to stop, he wouldn't. He'd hug me and grab my arms and shoulders. It was turning into my relationship with my girlfriend. The bond we had was gone, and all we had now was them sexualizing me. That is fucked. I was aware of it, but I was ashamed to tell others, and I was scared I'd be blamed. Or he'd be seen as the poor nice guy. Every day he'd hint at wanting certain pictures from me, to wanting a friend with benefits, to saying how virgins are really hot that you get to take away their purity. Oh my fucking god. Just typing this makes me sick. That's fine, just reading it makes me hate this man. There's a rage building inside of me. For context, I haven't even kissed anyone. He'd always talk about how it's so hot and give me these weird looks, and I felt really uncomfortable. There were two situations that broke me. I was at my locker when a male friend slapped his hand on my shoulder, and it's like my body and mind agreed that it was Zack. And I turned and had a hand ready to hit him, but I saw it was a friend, and he looked equally as surprised. I apologized and just said that he scared me. That made me realize that it's gotten to the point where my body thinks I'm in danger if someone so much as touches me, even a situation where I know I'm around friends. That is fucking horrible, dude. After that, I tried to stop talking to Zack. I would give him one-word answers to everything, praying he'd take the hint. But soon, the same male friend that I almost hit pulled me aside during lunch one day and told me how Zack was bragging to him in another class about me. Zack was saying how he wants me as a friend with benefits and possibly has me wrapped around his finger. That fucking douche. My friend told him I don't like that shit, especially because of my ex, and Zack said it's basically all an act of innocence. That I was acting innocent, or just was innocent and needed to be taught about this stuff. I knew all along, but hearing it being confirmed by someone, and knowing he was bragging to my best friend about this, that's what broke me. The rest of that day, I was disassociated and had a meltdown when I got home. That same day, I had to let out our puppies, and being puppies, they would try to jump on me. And their paws on my legs just made me freak out. I know it sounds like I'm being dramatic for something like grabbing my thigh, but please keep in mind what happened prior. The stereotype of boys liking that shit and him not even liking me romantically, just seeing me as friends with benefits candidate. And also, this has been happening every day for months. Yeah, no, you're perfectly justified in how you feel. This is... Oh, I'm about to go the fuck off. When I went back to school, I sat away from him. My teacher never said anything. I think he had a good idea what was going on. I later told him in a writing assignment, and when a kid mentioned how I was out of my assigned seat, he just goes, I don't care, it's an exception. Don't blame him for not talking to me, though. I didn't go too in-depth about it, and it just made me sound like Zack couldn't take a hint that I don't want to date him. I was too embarrassed to admit that he made me feel so gross and caused so much emotional distress. When I finally began to tell my friends what all had happened, a friend said, "Oh, he's just lonely." That's not a fucking excuse. And so I stopped telling people. For nearly 2 years, I didn't talk about it, but I didn't realize how bad the whole ordeal affected my mental health. Even today, if a dog jumps on my leg, I get that same uncomfortable feeling, and it sometimes is so bad that I feel a hand there hours after. Once I had a college class with a boy who sounded exactly like Zack, and I had to leave early because I could feel his hands on me, and it began to make me cry. After that year, I had that class with Zack. Thankfully, COVID happened. It's not every day you get to hear that, but understandable in context. And for all of his senior year, it was virtual, and I didn't have to see him again. During my summer break, however, I went to our local dollar store, and who the fuck do I find behind the counter? That's right, him. He's all, "Oh, hi, I missed you. Why have you messaged me on Discord?" My mom was there and had no idea of the situation, and I didn't want her to know, so I just said something like, "I'm bad at working Discord, and it's possible I accidentally deleted our conversation. I tried to delete server chats and accidentally delete friends' conversations," which is partially true. I have no idea how to use mobile Discord. Mobile Discord's crap, you're fine. He seemed to buy it, and then said, "Well, here, I'll give you my number. Text me to make sure it works." I wanted to run out of the store, but I added his number. Later in the car ride home, he texted me about his job and said how he has lots of extra cash. I was just apathetically responding, and then he said, "What's up?" with the little cat face and all. This boy's fucking creepy. Now, this may have been the paranoia, but I assumed he wanted to buy my body. I mean, considering what you went through, I don't think it's paranoia. I just said, "No, I'm good," and that was the end of the conversation. I later blocked his number and told my mom everything during a breakdown. Seeing him again made me relapse in every coping mechanism from my ED and self-harm. Oh my god. It got so bad that I had a meltdown in front of my mother, which I haven't done since I was like 10. During it, I told her everything about Zack and my ex. My mom decided we won't go to the store he works at, and if we do, I'll stay in the car and she'll be a bitch to him every chance she gets. Good mom. I love my mom. Your mom sounds fucking awesome, dude. It's been roughly 2 years since all this happened. I still experience what I call the phantom hands, but it's a lot less frequent, and I see a therapist who helps me work with the trauma. I still pride myself on my quote-unquote purity, but now I hold it even closer to my chest, and I'm a lot more adamant on keeping that, just to ensure I don't get sexualized again. I try not to make new friends out of the fear it'll happen all over again, and I know it's an irrational fear, but I only do it to avoid the constant paranoia of, is it all happening again? I totally understand. I'm sharing this for 2 reasons. 1, to vent and get it off my chest, and 2, to share a story of a male victim of this. I hardly hear stories of male victims of these kinds of things, and that's part of the reason why I found it hard to believe that it was okay for me to not like what was happening. I really hope soon that boys who are in my position don't feel like they have to be like that because of the gender norm, or anyone for that matter, has to feel obligated to like those things. It's a part of my life that's clouded by just feeling disgusted, scared, ashamed, and upset. I understand I got luckier than others who experienced similar situations, and I'm really grateful no one forced themselves onto me. But for me, it was all about just being seen as like a sex toy and not a human being. It's something I always tried to avoid, but failed twice. Zack was just the one who left a permanent mark and really tore me to shreds the most out of the 2. Thank you for reading all of this. Sorry if it's really long. I tend to write a lot more than I need to. This also is a story that's been really needing to get out there, and I appreciate you reading it. Thank you again, and have a great day, and never let someone convince you into thinking you have to like the kind of stuff, no matter your gender, age, sexuality, or past experiences. OP, I want to tell you, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you are, and I kind of hope you are, because the first thing you need to know is that you are 100% valid in your feelings. If you don't want to do something, you do not have to. Gender and, race or anything, completely irrelevant. It does not matter who you are. If you are uncomfortable with someone doing something to you, you do not have to do that. It is not their body. It is yours. And you are 100% justified in being pissed off and upset about this. I totally understand how you feel. I kind of went through something similar with some of my really horrible exes, and it makes you feel like shit. It makes you feel like you don't matter as a person, that you're only there to be some sort of object so that they can feel better about themselves or whatever. And that's fucking bullshit. It took a long time for me to get over that shit. It fucked me up and it screwed up my depression really bad. And it sounds like you went through probably a much deeper thing. Then again, we're much younger, so I don't really know. There's no way to compare these things, let's be completely honest. But what matters is that if you're not wanting to do these things, if you never want to do anything sexual in your life ever again, from now until whenever, that is totally okay. That is 100% fine. Because it is your decision. It is your body, and it is your life. And no one, I mean fucking no one, can take that away from you. This Zack motherfucker, this piece of shit, oh, fuck him. Fuck him and fuck people who do that kind of shit. That is some straight up manipulation and evil. Fuck that asshole. He can go fuck himself. I hate when people do that shit, man. I fucking hate it. We hear a lot about that, as you said, when it came to, like, gender norms and things like that. Oh, but guys are supposed to like that. No, man. No. Not everybody. Blanket statements don't fucking work. Everyone is fucking different, and I can't believe I'm the one who has to teach you guys this motherfucking lesson, because, holy shit, you should have learned that in grade school. Everybody is different. That goes for every single aspect. We all like different things. And if you're not okay doing something that other people still think is the norm for boys, you don't have to fucking do it. Fuck that shit, man. You're your own person, and you get to make these decisions. Bottom line. What he was doing was not just pressuring, it was grooming. This constant, can I push a boundary a little bit further? Oh, well, can I do this? Oh, can I do this? And continuing on that fucking pattern. I've seen this pattern so many fucking times, and it's disgusting. He's fucking foul. And then the idea that he could just pretend none of it ever happened, and then kind of start subtly trying to push his way back in, like, oh, I have all this money now, you boys. Fuck you. Fuck you and your money. Fucking asshole. Fucking monster. Get the fuck out of here. I don't even know what to say. I mean, there's nothing I could say that could make that better for you or anybody who's been through this. I know that it takes time. I know that having a good support system helps. And I know, again, that I'm just some, doofus on the internet reading fucking stupid shit. But we have a community. And if you ever need to talk to anybody, if you ever feel comfortable to talk to anyone, you are more than welcome in this community. And if you don't, if you just hear this and decide this is all the interaction you want to have, that is also okay. No one will judge you. No one thinks more or less of you. You are a perfectly wonderful person. And no one can ever take that from you. Especially not this fucking creep. Man, I don't know if everybody else goes through this, but when I went through that kind of manipulation and hurt from my much younger relationships, I was, stupid teenager who got into really bad places, but when I was in that kind of horrible mentality, because depression makes you do stupid things, either way, I felt awful, and it made my depression worse. It made me feel like I am a worthless person, that I am this kind of object that's only there to, do whatever for someone else, that I don't matter, that my everything is disgusting, But once I started getting out of that, getting a better headspace, getting where I am and doing this stuff, I've learned a couple things. And I know this is one of those things I'm probably going to say that's different when it comes to other, YouTubers who talk about this kind of shit. And whatever, everybody's feelings are valid, that's the way it is. But I learned two things. I learned, one, I can take care of myself and make myself better. And I am. I've started doing things to make myself better. And two, I'm fucking angry. Really fucking angry about this shit. It should not have fucking happened. It should not have done this. And I'm fucking pissed about it, and I won't let it happen again. And the major thing that anyone who goes through this kind of shit, or any kind of shit like this, needs to understand, because we always hear this shit. We always hear this shit from a whole bunch of different people, like, well, you just have to forgive, you just have to do this stuff. It's not right to be angry. And no! Fuck you. Your anger is valid. Your anger is expected. You went through fucking horrible shit. It's right to be angry. Get mad. That's fine. You can get mad. No one can fucking tell you that you can't get mad. And if you don't feel like getting mad, I'll get mad for you. Fuck, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. I'm really good at that shit. So, fuck it, man. It's fine. You can be angry. You went through something terrible. You have a right to be pissed off about that. Oh, man. This was a rough one. I wasn't expecting it to be this, this way. But I'm glad that you're out of that situation, OP, and I'm glad that you're, seeing a therapist and moving on. It will take time. But you never have to go that alone if you don't want to. I know you have a good support system. Your mom sounds fucking amazing. And I know that you're not having to face this shit alone. But if it means anything at all, just know that some weird cartoon unicorn on the internet also fucking agrees with you. Just because you're male does not mean that it's fucking okay. You have every right to be upset and every right to push back against that. It is your body, bottom line, and no one can tell you otherwise. And that goes for all of you. You are yourself and no one can fucking change that. And if you're not okay with something, that's fine. You can just... That's okay. It's your life. You can just not be okay with certain things. If you decide you never want to do anything, just staying on the sexual thing, but if you never want to do that again, that is also perfectly acceptable. Because no one can fucking govern you. You are you, period. I don't know if this random rant helps with anybody or anything, but I hope you guys, be safe out there. There's some really fucked up motherfuckers out there. And I'd hate for any one of you to get hurt. You guys are just wonderful, magical people. And I'm supposed to be the magic horse here, No, seriously, though. I love you all so very, very much. Just, YouTube outro bullshit, drop down, whatever. Who gives a fuck? The more important message is to be safe. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Goodbye, everybody.